Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. Grant Ellis and Juliana Pasquarosa became engaged at the end of The Bachelor season 29, but they are already planning a second proposal. The couple's path has not been easy from the beginning. Grant, 31, was immediately attracted to Juliana, 28, but their emotional connection did not develop quickly. It took time to grow, and at times it seemed impossible. Juliana struggled to let her barriers down after her previous heartbreak, even after she and Grant fell in love. Finally, Grant gave Juliana his final rose, and the couple were engaged. The Bachelor season 29 concluded with Grant proposing to Juliana, although this was not a sure conclusion. Grant appeared to waffle on his decision until the very last minute. Grant and Juliana have faced a number of problems since their engagement, making it difficult to enjoy their new relationship. Grant's runner-up, Lisha Gar, 31, accused him of telling her he was going to choose her. If it wasn't terrible enough, there were reports that Grant's sister didn't approve of their relationship. Grant and Juliana just announced that they are preparing another proposal, which is a negative omen. When The Bachelor season 29 aired, Grant appeared to be a very resolute person. It wasn't long before it became evident that his decisiveness was purely an act. The act rapidly began to crumble. Grant's mind shifted dramatically from one day to the next. As the season continued, he frequently sent home his favorites while retaining women who he hardly noticed. He didn't appear to know what he wanted or was looking for. The 29th season of The Bachelor began with Grant handing Alex Good, 28, his first impression rose and a single date. They seemed to have a deep connection, but then he turned around and forgot about her for the remainder of the season. Dina Lupancu, a 31-year-old participant, appeared to be a fan favorite until her hometown date went wrong. Unlike his prior relationships, his connection with Juliana progressed slowly. It developed as naturally as possible for an unscripted dating show relationship. Regardless, there could be trouble in paradise. Things appeared to be going well for the couple until Grant stated that he would be moving to Boston to be with Juliana. Grant lived in Houston, Texas prior to joining the casts of The Bachelorette season 21 and The Bachelor season 29. He recognized that her deep relationship with her family would make leaving New England tough. Though he decided not to sell his Houston property, the move appeared to be a good sign. Since then, the two have rarely been seen together, despite Grant's numerous public appearances. Grant and Juliana have been dealing with turbulence since their engagement 6 months ago on The Bachelor season 29. The couple recently went on the Bachelor Happy Hour podcast, and Juliana confirmed that they will not marry unless Grant proposes again. She stressed that all she needs is another proposal, not another ring. It appears to be a negative indicator that they are already discussing a second plan while the first is still fresh. Grant Ellis could still remember the moment he knelt on that rostering platform in the mountains of Big Sur, camera drones buzzing overhead, his heart pounding louder than the surf below. Juliana Pasquarosa, trembling in her cream-colored gown, had stared at him with those cautious eyes that had haunted him since the second week of filming. He hadn't been sure she would say yes. In fact, he hadn't been sure he would say yes until moments before. But in the end, he had given her the final rose. And she had accepted. 6 months later, their life was supposed to be a fairy tale. It wasn't. When the cameras stopped rolling and the world stopped watching, things got real. Fast. What had once been a dizzying whirlwind of fantasy dates and contrived conversations became long stretches of awkward silences and difficult truths. Grant had been living out of a suitcase in Juliana's Boston apartment, a place he never felt fully at home in. She had picked out the throw pillows and curated the bookshelf like she curated her heart, organized, guarded, minimalistic. Juliana loved her life in New England, Sunday dinners with her tight-knit Italian family, late-night ice cream runs in the North End, the local Pilates studio she swore was better than therapy. Grant, on the other hand, was still tethered to Houston by more than just a mortgage: his friends, his career prospects, his identity. The move had been symbolic, more than practical, and both of them knew it. Juliana read them all, of course. She didn't cry, she hadn't cried in years, but the look in her eyes told Grant that something fragile had cracked open again. She didn't ask if the rumors were true. That was Juliana's way: if she had to ask, it wasn't worth fighting for. Grant had always been the kind of guy who made decisions with his gut, and his gut changed directions like a weather vane in a storm. During filming, he had flipped between frontrunners like a kid switching seats on a roller coaster. First, Alex Good had seemed like the one; her glittering laugh and sharp wit had reeled him in on night one. But she faded from his mind almost as quickly as she'd entered it. Then came Dina Lupencu, the fan favorite who had wowed audiences with her genuine charm, until the disaster of her hometown date when Grant accidentally insulted her father's cooking on national television. And through it all, Juliana had remained a slow burn. She didn't beg for his attention. She didn't chase. That, paradoxically, kept her in the race. Juliana hadn't wanted to apply for The Bachelor in the first place. Her friends had signed her up as a joke, thinking she'd never go through with it. But there had been something about Grant's bio: Texan romantic seeks truth, not drama, that piqued her interest. Truth. That was the word that got her. Grant's actual proposal in the finale was hesitant. He paused several times, looked down nervously, and seemed on the verge of backing out. Producers later admitted in interviews that they weren't sure what he was going to do until the very last second. When he finally got down on one knee, Juliana said yes, but fans couldn't help noticing her cautious expression. It wasn't the sweeping romantic moment Bachelor finales are known for. It was tender, yes, but also riddled with questions neither of them were ready to answer. After the finale aired, things didn't get easier. Juliana and Grant tried to go about their lives, but controversies kept piling up. First was Lisha's accusation, which she repeated in multiple podcast interviews. Then came rumors that Grant's sister, a key influence in his life, did not approve of Juliana. Speculation mounted after fans noticed that she didn't follow Juliana on Instagram and failed to like any of the engagement announcement posts. When asked directly about it on Bachelor Happy Hour, Juliana declined to comment, only saying, "Family dynamics are complicated." That did little to calm the speculation. The pressure only increased when Grant announced he was moving to Boston to be with Juliana. It was a big step, one that Bachelor couples often discuss but rarely follow through with. Grant had deep roots in Houston, Texas. He had family, a thriving business, and a home he hadn't put on the market. Thanks for watching. If you likes this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and do not miss any update.